Good day, everyone, and hello from the Wilmington, Delaware. Oh, did I just say that? I'm so sorry, guys. This is Pablo Crust of DDS. I thought I was in Wilmington, Delaware, but I'm actually in New Hyde Park, New York. I must be having a Sleepy Joe moment. Forgive me, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, Pablo Crust of DDS, New Hyde Park, New York. We have a beautiful weekend as always. A lot of stuff going on. And I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you on behalf of Global Summit Organization and myself. And we want to thank you guys for being here with us today and finding the time from your busy schedules to join us. We're on a global mission to unite doctors, bring doctors together in the whole healthcare industry. And once again, we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for being with us. Today we have a special guest in the sense that in many interviews that we do and in many of these webinars that we do, I meet the guest for the first time. But fortunately, and it's my pleasure that the gentleman I will be introducing today is someone that I have met because we did a wonderful book together with Dr. Bach and the Global Summit Organization. And Dr. Eric Pulver was one of the contributing authors. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But once again, I hope all of you are well. I hope your families are well. We're all going through a very difficult time in the world, and we pray for you, and we're always here for you. So on that note, I'd like to make one little announcement. Perhaps some of you have seen it as of this morning. The Global Summit Organization and myself and all of the Dream Team members and the Board of Regents and the chairman, we decided to have some fun. Not that we haven't had fun so far. We've been having a lot of fun all these weeks and months, but we're going to introduce a new project, and it's called the Doctor's Comedy Show. And I'm one of the guys that's kind of going to be like, leading it, but don't tell anybody. So we're very excited about this new project, and our goal with this project will be essentially to have fun and to share our stories as doctors, as dentists, as healthcare professionals in general. Whether you're an assistant, a hygienist, an office auxiliary, an office manager, an MD, a DDS, oral surgeon, periodontist, doesn't matter. So this platform, it's designed so that we can all join together, share stories from our practices, share stories in dealing with insurance companies, and some stories will be rather serious, some stories may be funny, so it's not going to be one of those situations where we sit there and we laugh our butts off all day. It's going to be geared towards teaching our younger colleagues many things that we've experienced, some of our senior colleagues and myself. I consider myself senior at this moment. But anyhow, so the point is this. It's going to be a platform where you can come and tell us a story, an experience that you went through, whether it was good or bad, but it's something that you may want to bring forth and forward and share with the world, and so that our colleagues and our peers out there across the globe don't make the same mistakes. It could be about collection problems with insurance companies, could be about collection problems with a particular patient. It could be a funny story. Now, having said that, we won't be disclosing patient names. There may be some little profanity here and there. I mean, because you can't have comedy without cursing a little bit. But these days with all the crazy stuff going on around the world, I think nobody will crucify us if we have a little fun. And for those of you guys that are really like hardcore scientists and only rely on the literature and don't want to have a little fun, then we tell you right now that, we may be a little bit off the rocker when we do this comedy show. All of you out there in the globe watching this partner are welcome to private message me or get involved on the Doctor's Comedy platform, which literally will be launched any day. And, we look forward to you participating in this event and in this future event, I should say, so we can make it more fun. So having said that, I'd like to introduce to you guys Dr. Eric Pulver from Canada, more specifically from Toronto, I believe. And I'm going to read his resume right now, and then we'll discuss his resume a bit. And I particularly find one segment of his resume very interesting, which is at the end. And it's kind of when the universe agrees with everything going on, sharing knowledge, sharing dentistry, sharing all these beautiful partners with the world. I saw something at the end of Dr. Pulver's bio that that I would want to discuss with him. So, having said that, let me introduce Dr. Pulver. Dr. Oh, let me put my glasses on. Sorry, guys. So, Dr. Eric Pulver is a DDS, FRCD in Canada, ABOMS, that's a oral maxillofacial surgeon, folks. Very well accomplished gentleman and a scholar and a gentleman. So Dr. Eric Pulver received his doctorate of dental surgery from the University of Toronto, Canada in 1989. That's about 4 years before me. He completed a hospital-based general practice residency at the Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto in 1990, followed by a fellowship in osseointegration unit. Department of Prosthetic Dentistry, University of Toronto in 1991. Eric graduated with a diploma in oral maxillofacial surgery from Northwestern University in Chicago in 1995. He served as an assistant professor at Northwestern University Dental School prior to becoming the director of oral and maxillofacial surgery at the University of Chicago Hospitals from 1999 to 2006. He is currently an adjunct instructor at Indiana University Dental School and co-founder of Real World Dentistry, an interdisciplinary approach treatment planning course taught to the graduating class of IU dental students for the past 10 years. Dr. Pulver is the Chief Dental Officer of Dentai AI, which is a cloud-based artificial intelligence clinical support decision tool providing auto charting, diagnostics, and reduced contact patient efficiencies. I think that probably I should have said that improved patient efficiencies. Anyhow, he previously served as the team maxillofacial surgeon for the Chicago Blackhawks in the National Hockey League from 1999 to 2006. He is the founder and creator of All On Every Day. That's interesting. An online course directed at team development focused upon team education and incorporation of the immediate fixed full arch solution into everyday dentistry. Very, very interesting. He is a member of the American Board of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons, a fellow of the Royal College of Dentists of Canada, and a fellow of the American College of Dentists. He has contributed to scientific articles, research, and numerous virtual learning educational outlets. He has lectured and presented nationally and internationally on innovation, technology, with a specific interest in artificial intelligence, which is virtual dentistry and immediate full mouth reconstruction. Now, this is the kicker here. I love this part. Dr. Pulver's interests are diverse. He graduated from Second City Comedy, Chicago, where he completed improv levels A through F and stand-up in 2016 to 2017. He serves as a member. He serves as a member of advisory boards involving innovations and technology. He's an avid skier and a futurist who likes to exercise and enjoy his family. All right, and a couple of glasses of wine, and a little bourbon once in a while. So, Dr. Eric Pulver, I got to tell you, when I read such long resumes and people that are so accomplished, I'm so proud and happy to see that. Me, I'm just a DDS. I don't have too many titles behind my name, but wow, that's a long resume. Do you mind touching up a little bit and give us a little foundation as to all your accomplishments, and tell us how you started in dentistry? What motivated you to become an oral surgeon? Please.
Pavel, thank you so much for that kind introduction. It is a little hard to listen to all that. It would be nice to say, this is Eric, my friend. So it is a different feeling when you start hearing a long resume like that being read out. It talks about a life journey, right, that we're all on. And how did it all begin and how did we end up here? Hard to say. It is kind of ironic that we, are doing the Doctor in Comedy launch. I love that. I think that laughter, you can see right over behind my head over here, it says laugh, right, on the bookshelf. because I think that, you know, at the end of the day, if we laugh a lot and we are happy, we've won the game, if it is a game. So bring it makes us human, right? And it makes us real. And we talk about good times and bad times, and in the end, we want to laugh through them and learn. Thinking about the beginning, my father is a dentist. He's retired now. He's a pediatric dentist living in Toronto. And I always had fond memories of what he did. He was involved in a lot of different aspects of organized dentistry. He was at one point the president of the International Association of Pediatric Dentistry, and traveled all over the world. I remember him with his carousels of slides that he'd have, you know, and have to put them on the plane with him so that they wouldn't get lost. And now, how far have we come where everything's like on a little drive, right? And it's on, or it's on the cloud, and we can use PowerPoints and keynotes and do things that, you know, were unheard of before. It was pretty cool when you had two projectors and you interlaced your slides on one projector and the other, right? So he left a nice influence on me for making change and sharing and meeting people all over the world doing interesting things, and the value that a collective group of people could have if they focused moving forward. My uncle is also an endodontist, and he's in Toronto. And by the way, I live in Chicago. I've been here. I'm about 50-50 now. I lived in Toronto about as long as I lived in Chicago, so I'm a dual citizen. My family is back in Toronto right now in northern Ontario on a lake, enjoying the summer, and I'm here working. That's how it should be, right? I think that dentistry always, I looked at it initially as just, you know, something that seemed to be nice and something to do. And then I looked at it more recently as far as how we can use oral health to close the gaps in systemic health, and how globally and collectively we can start using precision dentistry, like precision medicine, to identify things orally that can impact age-related illnesses, diabetes. How does the oral biome impact the gut biome? And how are all these things affecting how we live day to day? And how do we know what we should be eating? And what nutrients do we need? How do we live healthy lives? And without teeth, and you can't do that, right?
Absolutely.
So we're really the first line there. We need to be helping people to be able to chew and to eat and digest their food and stay healthy. Right.
Wow. Can you touch a bit before I turn over the floor to you? Can you touch a bit about the stand-up comedy? I mean, I read your bio, but I'm you know, the fact that we decided to do this new project, and then I all of a sudden was pleasantly surprised by reading your bio. Like, tell us about it. I mean, I'd love to know, and now that I know you have this gift, you know, stand-up comedy, and I want to ask you a question. You're an expert. I'm a beginner. I don't know nothing about stand-up comedy, but I want to have fun. So let me ask you a question. I mean, I spend sometimes time in my room when nobody's watching, and I pace back and forth, and I think of something funny, and I'm like, I want to share this with my colleagues, but I'm embarrassed. I can't do it. I don't know. So, like, what is like the lesson 101 that you learn in stand-up comedy? And tell us your experience with stand-up comedy, and then we'll focus on dentistry and have a little fun.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of like, you know, and I'm no expert in it. If I was an expert in it, I'd be doing that. I think that it's okay to fail, you know, and it's really scary. It's scary to fail. It's scary to tell a joke. We've all said something funny, and everyone kind of looked like, "What are you talking about?" We may be experts at what we do, and particularly as dentists, we're very particular. We like to be analytical. We go down to the minutia. It's hard to go out there and put ourselves at risk of failure, and also, you know, is this going to be good? I feel that we have to get beyond that. I think that sometimes it's one of the scariest things we can do, or I can do. because it's stepping out. But I think that's part of life, to try something different, whether it's improv or stand-up comedy or something else that we've all wanted to try. Now's the time to do it. Don't wait for later. Try it, because it puts you in a place where you're always learning, right?
Yeah.
And like my new passion, artificial intelligence, it's ironic because I feel totally artificially intelligent, right? I feel like I don't know anything, so I got to keep learning, and I look at that as a support to kind of move on and learn more. So yeah, it's definitely something I'd recommend that you just give it a shot and try it.
Well, we'll see how the globe reacts to it. But anyhow, Dr. Pulver, let me introduce your topic, and then we'll turn over the floor to you. And I'm very excited, and I'm sure the rest of the world is very excited to watch your presentation. So anyhow, Dr. Eric Pulver will be discussing today intelligence, innovation, and technology, and its impact on the future of dentistry, the future of our work. So, Dr. Pulver, once again, I'm honored that you are joining us today and sharing your knowledge selflessly for the rest of the world to see. And once again, on behalf of myself and Global Summits, please return the podium over to you.
Okay, I just want to see if I have to. Hold on one second. I'm going to just switch screens here. Pull my PowerPoint up, which it is up. Okay, are you able to see that?
I can see it, yes.
But I wonder if I'm...
I don't see the full screen yet, but I'm sure it's fine.
I can go to full screen, but I can't see myself in the lower corner. But if you can see that, that's
supposed to happen, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Anso, are you there to help us out with this?
I'm here. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna log off. This will just take one moment. And I have my screen up. And okay, here we go.
Perfect.
Okay. So now I can go into the full screen mode, correct?
Right.
I'm not sure that that's working or not. I apologize.
No problem. Take your time.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get this. I'm sharing the screen.
Yeah, your presentation is up. You can go full screen and start with it.
Yeah, but I'm not able to click on the full screen. Do I click it on my end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you are full screen now. Yeah. Please proceed.
Okay, but I can't see myself.
That's fine.
I see you in the corner.
Okay, then that's fine. No problem. We'll start right here. Thank you all for your patience.
Our pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here to talk with everybody and share some ideas that I believe are kind of pushed forward because of what we're going through with the global pandemic. And what I do want to sort of touch on before we begin is my role with Denti AI. Denti AI is a cloud-based artificial intelligence, unbiased second decision tool that's, we hope, and is being used by dentists to help augment their care and find and identify different areas of decay and so forth earlier with their patients, but really as a standardization and calibration. We'll get into that. But I was fortunate enough to meet Dmitry Tuzov, who's our founder and CEO, on a trip back to Toronto about almost 3 years ago now. I was teaching that course at Indiana University on interdisciplinary treatment planning, and we were creating checklists. There was a group of us doing this to help the students to make less mistakes, really, than what we made when we got out. And along that line of learning and creating the checklists, I became interested in innovation and technology, and I learned about artificial intelligence and thought it may be an interesting area to move towards to help in our education and our learning and communication with patients. And it was on a trip back to Toronto that I was mentioning it to a colleague who, when I came back to Chicago to begin working, called me that next Monday and introduced me to Dmitry. Dmitry is originally from Russia, and he's had a lot of really interesting, innovative jobs. And he was at one point the head of research and development for Huawei Software in Moscow. He's a sommelier and had a online exit from a really interesting wine distribution company. And one of the things that he got interested in was machine learning. And when he met Jan LeCun on a visit, and he decided to go back to school to get a PhD in machine learning and transitioned his studies from medical technology in the 3D space to dental when he had an issue with tooth number 14 and a root canal was being done and a canal was missed. So it was at that point that he concentrated on how can we find pathology within a tooth? How can we help dentists to be better to help their patients? And that led to him creating Denti AI. And we'll go into our team and so forth later. But he was then accepted into a really cool incubator in Toronto through the Rotman School of Business at the University of Toronto. And it was there that he and Max, our CTO, had a lot of success and moved through the process, and I met them there. So we'll talk about the journey in a bit, but it was a real special meet we had, and it was one of those things that we just, each other were putting ourselves out there. They were looking to get into bringing artificial intelligence into the dental space in North America, and I was looking to augment the course, and the two kind of stories came together, and we've had a lot of success and progress since we first met. So I want to get into kind of what's going on now, what's around us with COVID, and talk about how that's pushed technology forward and hopefully allowed us to accept what's here now and how we can implement that into our practices. So the topic is Tomorrow Today came about because one of my daughters, when she was young, used to say, "Can I have this?" And my wife and I would say, "Well, you can get that tomorrow." And then that would start, well, it was tomorrow today. So it was like we couldn't wait till tomorrow. And there are a lot of things around us that exist, and there's an abundance of opportunities. Some do exist, and some are existing in our minds that we can move forward to create through technology. So I wanted to talk about artificial intelligence, innovation in technology, and its impact on the future of work and our practices. And I broke it down into a number of different categories. How do we think, and is there a need for reflection of this? And we'll do a brief review. Sometimes how we think isn't always how it really works. Sometimes that's how comedy works too. Post-pandemic workflow and the future of work. And then we'll move into the teamwork and how the digitalization process can help and opportunities and what we can do with virtual patient care, and can it be used? Is the time right? I think it is for change and innovation. And we'll talk about the logistics of implementing that virtual workflow into visits. Then I want to talk about some exciting news and the academic challenge for AI, and does it really work? And we just had one of our researchers present and successfully present their PhD thesis, and he was kind enough to allow me to share some of his data and information, and this was just done really last week. That was the thesis presentation in defense. Is Tomorrow Today. This will be an introduction to Denti AI, our journey, the work we've done, and where we hope we can go with you and with your help. And I also want to talk about tomorrow, and that's about our curiosity and the abundance of opportunity ahead. So we'll break it into those topics, and we should have a nice little, can't be a discussion together because I can't see the chat, but one day it would be nice to have that with each of you. So how do we think? Need for reflection, a brief review. If we look at the World Economic Forum, a number of years ago, they talked about the fourth industrial revolution. We talked about in the late 1700s, steam and water and mechanical production of equipment. And we looked later in 1870 in the division of labor, electricity, mass production. Then we moved into the late 60s, early 70s to electronics, IT, automated production in manufacturing plants. And now we're into what they call cyber physical systems. I call it artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the rise of this perhaps even at one point interconnectivity between our thoughts, enhancing them and moving forward. And the real obstacle is the technology moving up to this point, which I'll show you, and also our imagination and our vision of how can we implement it, and are we going to accept this? But it is a really exciting time now that's happening around us, and it's going on today. And I think it's really cool, particularly as dentists, because we've adopted the digital workflow with STL files and capturing technology and innovation with 3D printing. So we're really, I believe, a great profession to adopt this and be the leaders in healthcare in this area. And if we look back, what is the need for this type of support system in our thinking? We want to take the mundane or the things that are repetitive, those tasks that we use our computing power within our brains, and allow it to be kind of sent out for someone else, right? Outsourced. So in 1950, it took 50 years for the medical knowledge to double. In 1980, it was 7 years. In 2010, it was 3.5 years. And now in 2020, even before COVID, it was, they say, 73 days. Now, today with COVID, I would suggest that that's even going more quickly. So we have this exponential growth. It far outweighs any individual's ability to break down and filter out. So we could really use a little help from a friend, and that friend could be our artificial intelligence. There are a lot of things we have to do to make sure and assure that it goes nicely and it can help us. In Daniel Kahneman's book, Think Fast, Think Slow, he broke down two different systems of thought process. One was a quick thinking and one was a more analytical process. And he gave this example because sometimes we believe when we evaluate other systems that we make no mistakes. But sometimes, I'll walk into a room and look for something and I forgot what I walked in the room for. And I know that we're all multitaskers and we're busy, but he used this example in his book. If a bat and a ball cost $1.10 and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, how much does the bat cost? And most of us will say $1 because that's fast. I mean, if we sat down and thought about it for a while and had nothing else to do, we may say, yes, it's $1.05 because it had to be $1 more. But sometimes we make that quick thought and move on and don't realize that there was just a little error, not so far off, but it wasn't right. These are some of the things that artificial intelligence can help us with. And this is an image from Anthony Chang's book, which is about to be published and come out, Intelligence-Based Medicine. And he breaks down the two systems. System one, the limbic system. System two, the neocortex. Neocortex being more analytical, slower. You have to work through that. It takes more power, takes more glucose. The system one is where we make quick thoughts. We're almost not conscious of these thoughts being made. And we sometimes come to results that aren't as accurate. Using artificial intelligence, which doesn't get tired, which is continually learning and improving, can help us to improve those system one types of processes. And I think it's really important to be aware of that and to look at ourselves and judge ourselves against these AIs coming to the market to say, okay, maybe we can use them as an assistant. And maybe one day that can grow to a teacher or a teammate or something that actually leads the way as well. So we're looking at machine learning in the 80s, and then we look at deep learning now. And part of the change has been the computing power, the power from a CPU to a GPU, the speed of the computer as well. And we look at computer vision because that's where a lot of the initial research was. And it was a nice foray into imaging with dental x-rays and medical imaging and AI getting a foothold in the door in that way. So we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. And I want to talk now about what's going on with the post-pandemic workflow and the future of work. So when COVID first came out, we were kind of all over thinking, what are we going to do? How are we going to be productive are safe in this area? How will we keep our teammates safe? How will we keep the community in which we live in and our patients safe? And it was anxious. And I think that, we were a little worried. We've collected a lot of information, and as dental professionals, we were used to dealing with bloodborne pathogens, airborne pathogens, sterile technique, OSHA. So we were quite prepared to meet this challenge. And certainly it was extraordinary times that we were living through, but sometimes it was overwhelming. And I kind of felt like, what did we do with our patients? And it kind of felt like this. Okay, so we didn't really take it that far, right? But we did start breaking down the systems and figuring out what can we do to move ahead in a safe way for all of us. And because I believe we're all extraordinary people, we had this opportunity to make change. And I believe most of us have. And I think that one of the things that we talked about or looked at was implementing and adopting and embracing digital technology and the digitalization of the workflow and allowing patients to spend less time in our office and creating less patient overflow, creating barriers, yes, but also sharing technology back and forth to prepare for those visits. And I think that it's important to look at that and how do we create a digital footprint within our practices? And why do we do it? It allows for real-time customization. It gives us predictive insights at unparalleled speeds. So if we collect data and information, we can evaluate it before we jump in to talk to our patients. It also helps drive down operating costs. And when we have excessive operating costs with our PPE and a different workflow, maybe seeing less patients, in-room air disinfection, all these areas of digitalized workflow help to make an impact. And patients actually like it. They don't have to come to our office. They may not have to drive there. Now, different types of practices will be able to handle this in different ways. It's not for everybody. It may work better for components of a practice. Someone may find it works well for all of their practice. Different specialists may find that it works easier than others. But some of these new enhanced efficiencies will allow us to thrive in this time of uncertainty and moving forward. And in order to create these changes, you kind of need the things that COVID created. So you take a chance on change, right? It's a sense of urgency. And you want to develop a vision with your team and they have to buy into this, right? You have to communicate clearly how it's going to happen. You have to empower the action and give the tools and training that's necessary and start slowly and build it into the practice. We want to incorporate that change into our culture. And it starts by an innovational organizational structures and creating an openness to change. And this is how you would do this if you wanted to work it into your practice. And it will take time. And it may be something we have to think of. And as we move through COVID, re-engage in doing this if we decide that we haven't done it yet or we want to do it in the future. We want to streamline process, establish open communication within the team, and prioritize and redesign the workflow a bit and slowly start doing it. You don't necessarily have to jump in. You may want to do training with this. And I'm talking about virtual dental visits to some extent. And you want to build the right team and embrace that technology. And slowly you can go from this openness to change to digital maturity. And then you can become an incubator, trying new innovations within your practice and become a center for excellence that really helps lead the way in your communities for all healthcare providers and perhaps other businesses as well. If you look there was a study out of Harvard that was published through ethics. It was the Edward J. Safra Center for Ethics at the University of Harvard. And they put together a pathway for pandemic resilience. And they talked about distributed organizational structure, getting information from everyone on the team and sharing it with everybody. And one of the ways you can do that is if you have a morning huddle. You may be doing that now. You may be at a social distance, but you could also look at doing a digital huddle or a Google Meet huddle. There's all different types of ways that you can look at that. And if we want to specifically for a moment get into the digitalized opportunities of virtual care, you can look into contactless patient care and virtual communication, electronic signatures, which are compliant and you would have to check into your component malpractice carriers and wherever you're living to make sure that that is fine. But in most cases, in your practice acts, it is usually fine to get an electronic signature, even for consent forms in some cases, as long as the nature of the procedures aren't being changed. So you want to look at your patient workflow, your data collection. Perhaps you want to think about modified recall exams, online post-operative visits, and see how that works within your practice. Obviously, many of you may already be doing online health histories. We can share Google Forms or Microsoft Forms, and we have to make sure that it's all treatment is organized and HIPAA compliant. Financial agreements can be shared this way, acknowledgement forms, treatment plans, and so forth to speed up the patient visit, which builds efficiency for the patient and your practice. So if you wanted to consider how can this be done, and as an oral surgeon, I'm not claiming to tell you how, if you're a general dentist or an endodontist or an orthodontist, it work best in your practice. I'm just saying take a look at it, because it is here now. And we hope that COVID has sort of drawn this, I look at it, it's drawn the curtain back, and we've peeked ahead to the future. And some of these things that we've been forced to adopt in our patients and ourselves as patients or consumers have looked at different ways to access food or delivery of certain items or our own healthcare. We're open to this. So it's an excellent time to adopt and change and pivot. So how could we perhaps collect our digitalized workflow beforehand and then have time for the provider to evaluate that and set up a virtual visit with our patients without our PPE on? And really, I've had Zoom calls, and I'm sure many of you have had Zoom or other technology types of calls where you've left and you've had what I call Zoom motion, like an emotion of a digital interaction on a Zoom call, like I felt I was there. And I think that these are things that our patients are expressing when we're working with them as well. And it might be interesting to see what you think of if you were to use that in your office. But you could collect a lot of the information and work in that way. So it's really a time for an opportunity for a paradigm shift, a pivot, or reinventing. So is the time right for change and innovations? How do we fit this in? How is this going to work? We want this virtual dentistry to be comforting, and we want people to trust, build trust through this technology. We have digital connections, right, are taken to a new level, like I just mentioned, and it helps with preparing efficiency, where people can do these consults conveniently from home. If they're together or they're not together, they can connect. You can have more than one person on them. There's different types of virtual communication as well. There's asynchronous through texting back and forth. You can have synchronous, where it's a real communication back and forth. And we can integrate this into your practice management softwares, or it can be depending on the platform. And you can also kind of re-envision a comprehensive exam where the data is collected, you can evaluate it, and then later have the patient in and check specific areas and move ahead with treatment or care. So it's something really to think about, and the opportunities here. Marko Vucevic, through the Health Policy Institute, has been collecting great data and sharing it on his webinars with his team. And they showed different areas where virtual technology and communications was being used, and then it wasn't being used. And I think we have to open our minds and our vision up into how it can be used in a unique way. It's not just to deal with an emergent patient or avoid someone from going to the emergency room, which are both important, but it can also be built into your everyday workflow. But you have to think about that process and really make an effort to implement it and get buy-in from your team. But just looking at this, it showed that oral maxillofacial surgeons, orthodontists, pediatric dentists were using it to a higher degree than many others. And there were a number of large DSO organizations that used it at a high level and then stopped. Now, one day after we get through COVID in the future, I hope that we look back at these opportunities and maybe look at a different way of embracing the future. My cousin just posted this morning, so I thought I'd include it in a lecture today. He's back in Toronto. And my question is, we just had a reboot. Are we going to relapse or reset and move forward to the future? And it all depends on how well aligned you are. And it was so well said by this marketunist.com cartoon was, this is our top priority, and it's digital transformation. And some people are like, I'm all in, and there's no computer there or a little desktop, and then someone on their computer, absolutely, and someone buying in with their smartphone. And then all of a sudden, there's a bit of a disconnect. So how do you get buy-in? When's the right time? I'm not sure when the right time is, but it's an opportunity I hope we don't miss out on. And some of us need to lead the way. And that sort of moves us into artificial intelligence, which has become a passion of mine. And the academic challenge for AI, and does it really work? And I was able to speak to, we did research with Bill Scarf and his team at the University of Louisville. And this has been going on for quite some time. And I was able to speak with Rohit Badlamani, who just did his thesis review on the 31st of July. And he was kind enough to allow me to share some of these slides. And we're indebted to him and the whole team at the University of Louisville, Bill, for accepting our technology to allow his team to do this unbiased work. And they were quite critical in a good way, because we felt that if we went to the top, we could get the best results, because we want this to be adopted by many of you out there. And there will be, there is an opportunity, and I hope we can connect for you guys to get involved with AI and help to be an ambassador and a champion of this new technology moving forward. And they actually did their study on the application of machine learning and technologies for detection of dental caries in intraoral images in an in vitro study. They did this in the mouth, not outside of the mouth, where many studies are done on caries. So it was kind of real time, real live. And Rohit was very detailed and collected a tremendous amount of information. And he broke it down and said, who is prone? Well, dental caries hits us at all stages of our lives. We know that it's involved with diet, cariogenic diet, bacteria, and there's host factors. There's an oral biome that can impact it. And it's in the high 90% range of individuals that are impacted. So it's almost an epidemic or a pandemic. It's everywhere, and we really need to intervene earlier. And how can we do this? Well, it is preventable. The longer we wait, the more costly it gets to the patient and society. And it can impact patients' lives, right? And they can end up in the hospital. It can also impact them financially. If you look at emergency room visits, again, through the Health Policy Institute data, there was $867 million to $2 billion spent on emergency room visits for dental needs that perhaps could have been prevented. What's interesting as well is the traditional way that we identify caries. Obviously, that large one on the top, we're going to just look at and know it exists, but is through bite wing images and a explorer. And we look at this, and in Rohit's research, he showed that using the bite wing radiograph, we could potentially miss up to half. Other studies will show 30% of dental lesions, and we can also misclassify them. So we really have to be careful of what we're looking at, and having some assistance through artificial intelligence would be quite helpful. And this is kind of how the process works. We ask a question, we input big data, we have to get a ground truth, we test it, and there's interesting ways of doing that. We create the algorithms and we optimize them for pattern recognition, and then we spit out an output, and we have to monitor that to make sure it makes sense. So really the aim of his work was to look at machine learning and to detect and quantify proximal dental caries compared with trained observers who were maxillofacial radiologists. So we felt it was very important to have real top level annotators look at this ground truth, because then the algorithm will continue learning at that level when we let it, when it's used by others. So we hope that machine learning, or this is our hypothesis, reduced operator error in viewing conditions, biases would be gone, which would be wonderful, and lead to increased accuracy and precision in the detection of proximal dental caries. We had a huge number of images that Rohit went through, 16,000. He eliminated some that didn't quite fit into the protocol. we looked at bite wing images, and we moved on with the study. And the results were quite excellent and interesting. The sensitivity for incipient and moderate decay for the AI was 0.51, and the observers all added together were 0.27 and 0.3. So incipient and moderate decay, which are the ones in the areas that are most challenging for us to find, we were able to increase the probability of the findings with the AI. And that was really significant and groundbreaking. And this is a validation, an academic validation of the algorithms that Dimitri and Max and Lamilla and the team have been working on for many years. And it was a real kind of nice moment, kind of like landing on the moon, right? And to know that we have algorithms that actually do what look good, but they're now validated. And we thank everyone on the team at Louisville for doing this, and Rohit for sharing that information with all of us today. So thanks, Rohit. You may be listening, and if you are, awesome work. Thank you. And we look forward to further collaborating with you and your team as well. This is our team. And, I just want to take a moment to say it's a wonderful group of people to work with. We challenge each other all the time. We continue to have new opportunities, and we welcome those opportunities and new partners within North America, outside, and globally around the world. And we really want to make a difference for dentistry and bring it to dentistry in the right way. We want feedback. We have a product that it works quite nicely, but we always can grow and improve. I mean, that's how life is, right? So, I want to thank Dimitri and Max and Lamilla, Darren and Jeremy and Vincent and the rest of the team for all their great work. And if we're looking at what we do, people might say, well, what do you do, right? Well, radiographic diagnosis drives most treatment and revenue generating procedures in dentistry. And yet we don't always agree with what we see on the image. There's about 70% agreement found in most studies. So we bring a trusted, unbiased clinical decision support tool to the dental marketplace and to providers, right? Providing evidence-based analysis for what they're looking at to calibrate and clarify and standardize our communication and our findings. And I think that this is a great first place to start for bringing artificial intelligence into oral health and overall systemic health. And if we play our cards right as a profession, I think we can be leaders in this area because of our background and our ability to push change and adopt new technology. And Denti AI is bringing efficiency and assurance or accuracy, quality assurance, early intervention, reduced costs, and improve patient outcomes to the market. And that's a wonderful thing for ourselves as practitioners and our patients. And so in a more specific area, we look at dental caries and apical lesions. We can identify decay, bone loss, missing teeth as well. In many studies where we've taken over 1,000 charts and evaluated them, we're finding in some cases 17% or higher increased diagnostic findings that would be moved towards treatment. And in some cases, we can intervene earlier and use remineralization products and follow the change, which is quite exciting for the future. We're also unique in being able to identify existing features. And what I have listed here is just a small number of the features that we find, but we can identify tooth numbers, restorations that are present, the surface that they're on, the type of restoration, endodontic fills, implants being present as well. And we do work across all modalities, panoramic images, bite wings, periapical, and some work in the 3D space as well. What's really unique about what we have is our artificial intelligence-driven analytics, where we can create dashboards for larger organizations across their network and help to guide in a precise or precision way where education might be needed to identify periapical radiolucencies or third molars or different areas, bone loss per se. And we can help onboard with education. We can help monitor and track. So it's really unique in what we can do. And I'm hoping that it can one day lead on to improving and supporting value-based care. So we can create computer-aided diagnostics as a second opinion. on a number of different clinical findings, and automated charting, which is a unique feature to Denti AI. And it's all stored in a proprietary de-identified cloud, or a system in the cloud that's de-identified. We can send out individual records, like you see on the right of your screen, that can be utilized now in our beta vision that you can find online. We also have analytics that I mentioned before. But what I'm going to show you in a bit is how this integrates into some of the largest practice management software systems that you may be using in your office, including Dentrix. This is an example of two red bound areas that were not identified and a blue one that was. So where the AI can help, there are false negatives and there are false positives. And with AI today, we do err on finding a little bit more and allowing you to take it off in the process. You can agree with the findings or disagree with a simple click. This slide shows our accuracy validation, where working together as an assistant, the AI and the human can reduce the spectrum of findings and be more accurate. So it saves time and it builds accuracy. And our automated charting actually helps a lot now in the time of COVID as well. We've presented our research at the Joint American and International Association of Maxillofacial Radiology this past August. Dimitri also presented at the previous international meeting the year prior in Lucerne. So we are really based in making a change for dentistry by dentists moving this forward. We've had the opportunity to work with some of the largest dental support organizations in the world, academic centers, and companies as well, distributors. This is some of the research that the Louisville information you already saw, but at UNC with Don Tyndall, we did some work with his fellows and students showing periapical radiolucencies and using a CT scan as a gold standard. And we found that we were right on par with the providers, a little bit more, a little higher at 0.93 than 0.82, but we're in that ballpark. And as the algorithm continues to learn and improve, we'll get even higher with our sensitivity. It was interesting. It showed us that the maxillary first molar was the most challenging area, but it was also for the providers because of the overlap of the maxillary sinus. So it also brings to light some of our human challenges because they're similar to the AI challenges. And I just wanted to, thank everyone involved in this study as well, because it's through studies like this that we get to advance the impact of artificial intelligence in AI and move towards acceptance in clinical practice and in education as well. So curiosity, abundance, and the opportunity ahead. Where are we and what can we do looking forward? It's interesting with the internet and the Internet of Things and toothpaste and smart toothbrushes, using AI and timing where we're brushing. I think it's a time that we can engage with our patients and get them to buy in and have ownership and take advantage of the value-based care concept. And maybe one day we can have smart toothpaste that can change colors based on bacterial concentrations. Maybe it can help to tell us the state of health, both with inflammation systemically or locally. We look at value-based care. DentaQuest has been doing some great work in that area with their preventistry. Other companies are in the same space. DentaQual is a objective, unbiased way to look at standard deviations of outcomes through insurance claims that can rank practitioners. And the better care that's provided, the higher your ranking will be, and you'll perhaps maybe one day be able to get different types of reimbursements, and maybe patients can rank that. We can have patients look at cardiothoracic surgeons, hospitals, and outcomes, but we can't quite do that with dentistry. For those of us that work hard to, help our patients to move forward and educate them, there should be a really interesting way that this whole model, the payer model, can be disruptive and improved, and we can help outcomes and reduce the overall cost and expense, similar to what Rightway, Castlight, and others in medicine are doing with concierge care and monitoring, helping employees and policyholders find the right providers for their care efficiently in it. Industry specific. There's so many new innovative, creative ideas, including salivary biomarkers, salivary-omics, proteomics, epigenetics, some of the work that David Wong and his colleagues at the University of UCLA are doing is quite fascinating. They're working on some excellent, quick, rapid testing for COVID as well. We have others like Lura Health that uses a wearable to hopefully one day track pH. That could be interspersed with other types of ions and enzymes and bacteria in the mouth as well. We have dental monitoring, remote monitoring that can help to look at ortho changes, and all these help to build efficiencies in patient care and the patient flow. Remineralization and guided remineralization, Credentis and others are doing fascinating work on the peptides for remineralization of enamel. But if we can get in there earlier with some of our AI technology, we have a better chance of remineralizing teeth and maybe helping countries where they don't have care or access to all this type of restorative work or more invasive work. So there's some really cool, interesting things that we can all be part of. So really, I want to, in a moment, show you all a video of the integration of the Denti AI software. But, you know, again, it's tomorrow today. I think it is. I think we can get there together. It's an exciting time. And if any of you are interested, you can, you know, reach out to me at EP or Pulver at Denti AI, or go to our website and log on as well and register as a beta tester. And Jacqueline or Darren will reach out to you, and, you know, we'd love to collaborate and talk. But in a moment, I'm going to log off this screen and I want to show you a little video. But I thank you all for your time. And Kunar, thank you for putting the Podinars together, and the whole global summit concept is spectacular. And what a great way and opportunity for dentists all over the globe to get together and share information and push forward what we're able to do in oral health care, and raise the bar of dentists everywhere, and all dental care providers as well. So just give me a second, and I'm going to pull up that one other video, and I'd like to share it with you. Okay. Here we go. So this is a video illustration that runs fairly quickly of what we're able to accomplish using artificial intelligence today. And you know, let me just play this for you, and we'll go from there.
Denti.ai is bringing revolutionary software to the dental market. Built to augment and enhance the dental workflow, the Denti.ai diagnostics engine brings artificial intelligence and our patent-pending auto charting to support providers. By fully integrating into practice management systems, Denti.ai helps dentists and hygienists deliver more efficient and comprehensive care. When working in your practice management system, you can seamlessly launch your patient's most recent visit into the Denti.ai application. The patient's images will be automatically analyzed by our award-winning academic.
So you can see, as you go through the odontogram or each of the teeth, it drops down with a little luggage tag bag that tells you where the identification is from. Is it the bite wing, or is it the panoramic image?
Scrolling through the imaging, you can easily accept, adjust, and reject the suggested findings from the latest patient visit. When your review is complete, Denti.ai will aggregate the findings from all the latest radiographic images into a...
So each finding you have to then diagnose and click and accept on the bar on the right.
Single patient chart.
We then have an integrated button to link this into your EMR.
One click and a confirmation will magically auto-populate the patient chart for complete practice records that keep your organization in compliance and reduce liability down the road.
So you can see how it populates the odontogram here and all the findings after you've okayed them and checked them.
Leveraging the outputs of the Denti.ai diagnostics engine helps support more effective diagnosis. Auto charting ensures quality assurance, saves providers time, and enables a reduced contact workflow with enhanced safety in a post-COVID world. Working together, dental healthcare providers and Denti.ai drive tangible revenue growth and a first-rate compliance across organizations. In short, Denti.ai delivers best practices to next practices and brings tomorrow today.
Okay, so I want to thank you all for spending time on your weekend with me and having and providing the opportunity to share some of this information. I hope you found it interesting, and I'd love to continue the discussion if there's any questions. Thank you, Pavel. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Yeah, Dr. Pulver, it's our pleasure to have you do this partner with us today. And, dentistry has changed so much. It's exploding on so many levels. And, we're all masters at something. And it's such an honor to have this platform that we share knowledge and our different abilities and our different passions with the whole world in what we do. We certainly cannot be all best at what we do individually, but globally, on a global scale, when we share knowledge freely and willingly, we can rock and roll and move the planet just a little bit in a positive direction. So having said that, I'd like to thank you for this wonderful presentation, and I'd like to open the podium for questions. But the last thing I will say, it's all about love and passion. And, I think I've coined that term, and I apologize to anyone in case someone beat me to it, but it's about love and passion, loving what we do and doing it with a passion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself again and Dr. Pulver and Global Summits, I'd like to thank you for joining us, and I'd like to open the webinar to any questions.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is often about passion, and sometimes the passion can get overwhelming, right? But I think you got to kind of go and follow it and see where it takes you, right?
Absolutely.
And there's so much to share and so much to talk about. It's interesting. I wonder if any of the people listening have adopted any of the virtual technology, or even I wonder, it would be interesting to take a poll if anyone understands how far artificial intelligence has advanced into dentistry to the point where it can be utilized.
Well, sometimes, it takes time for the globe to sort of accept the new things in dentistry, because I think as dentists, all of us, at least, I should speak for myself. Many of us get locked into our boxes, and we sort of forget to keep up with what's going on. And that's a pitfall that I've had, and I've been practicing since 1993. So I'm not a spring chicken. And what I encourage everyone to do is the following. Get on the bandwagon while you're young. Join forces with good people, with proper organizations that practice their tactics in an ethical and professional manner. Be friends with good people and grow. Don't be afraid to come out. All of us, and when I say all of us, I think I speak for the world. We're here to help. We're here to unite. And we're here to share the doctor-to-doctor concept and the peer-to-peer. And, united, we stay together. And united, we make rules and regulations, and we fly together, all of us. So love you. And I guess if there's no questions, I'll say goodbye. That's my sign. Love you all, and let's rock and roll.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. And I see everyone's messages on the side. Thank you all for your messages. I don't know how to chat on this, so I can't chat back. But thank you all for joining us. And Pavel, excellent job.
Thank you.